It's easy to forget sometimes just how fast the future is catching up to us. But every now and then, a moment arrives that forces the world to pause and take notice. And this time it's not a rocket test or a scientific theory, it's the beginning of something truly monumental. Starship, SpaceX's gleaming silver behemoth, is no longer just a prototype or a dream for interplanetary travel. It's about to embark on its very first commercial mission. The significance of this moment stretches far beyond the launch pad at Starbase. It marks the beginning of a new era, one where space is not just the domain of governments and billionaires, but an open frontier for business, exploration, and eventually settlement. Starship isn't just another rocket. It's the largest and most powerful launch vehicle ever built, capable of lifting over 100 metric tons of cargo to low Earth orbit. Towering nearly 400 feet tall when stacked with its super-heavy booster, Starship is a marvel of engineering, but more importantly, it's designed with one mission in mind: reusability. Like a modern cargo ship or commercial jetliner, Starship is meant to fly again and again, reducing costs with every successful landing and relaunch. And now, after years of prototypes, engine tests, structural upgrades, and fiery landings, Starship stands on the verge of its first true customer voyage. A moment that could change everything we know about accessing space. But what exactly is going up on this historic flight? SpaceX has kept many details under wraps, but sources close to the project have revealed tantalizing hints. The first commercial payload won't just be symbolic, it's packed with real-world utility. It includes a new generation of communication satellites designed to extend broadband internet coverage to underserved areas of the world. These are not your average satellites. They are compact, lightweight, and capable of forming dynamic mesh networks in orbit, adapting in real time to optimize signal strength and coverage. For millions living in remote or rural regions, this could be their first connection to the digital world. And it's all riding aboard Starship. This isn't just a win for SpaceX, it's a seismic shift for the satellite deployment industry. Traditionally, getting a satellite into orbit required a long wait time, expensive bookings, and cramped conditions inside relatively small payload bays. Starship changes that equation completely. With its cavernous cargo hold, it can deploy dozens, if not hundreds, of satellites in a single mission. This dramatically reduces cost per satellite and opens the door for small businesses, universities, and even startups to get their hardware into space. Suddenly, space access is no longer a pipe dream for the elite. It's a viable option for anyone with a vision and a bit of funding. As the countdown ticks toward liftoff, the world is watching. But not just because of the raw spectacle, though Starship's launch is undeniably jaw-dropping. It's the promise that follows. With each successful mission, the boundaries of possibility get pushed a little further. Imagine medical labs in orbit, manufacturing facilities using microgravity to create materials we can't produce on Earth, or fleets of space-based telescopes peering deeper into the cosmos than ever before. The technology going up on this maiden voyage isn't just functional, it's foundational. It lays the groundwork for the infrastructure of a new age. And the rocket isn't flying empty-handed. Tucked alongside the satellites is a set of experimental payloads designed for scientific research. One of them is a miniature laboratory module capable of conducting automated biology experiments in zero gravity. Another contains sensors meant to gather data on cosmic radiation levels beyond Earth's protective atmosphere. These are early steps, small probes testing the waters before larger endeavors, but they matter. Because every piece of data, every gigabyte of information, brings us closer to understanding how to live, work, and thrive beyond our home planet. The mission has broader implications too. It's a signal to competitors, investors, and governments alike. SpaceX is not waiting for permission or consensus. It's building the future as fast as it can. For countries developing their own space programs, the race just got faster. For private companies considering orbital ventures, the entry barrier just got lower. And for the rest of us watching from the ground, the timeline for when space becomes part of our daily lives just got shorter. There's also the human factor. While this mission doesn't carry any astronauts, it's laying the groundwork for when it inevitably will. The systems being tested, from flight control to heat shielding to reusability, are all precursors to human-rated versions of the Starship platform. One day these same rockets will carry people, scientists, engineers, tourists, and maybe even settlers, into orbit and beyond. That journey starts here with cargo because mastering payload delivery is the first step in ensuring safe and sustainable human transport. But none of this happens in isolation. The commercial mission is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. SpaceX's broader vision includes in-orbit refueling, lunar landings, Mars missions, and beyond. And each of those steps relies on data gathered from flights like this one. Every sensor reading, every telemetry signal, every minor malfunction or anomaly adds to the company's growing knowledge base. In the world of rocketry, failure is not defeat, it's information. And with every flight, Starship becomes smarter, safer, and more capable. It's worth taking a moment to appreciate just how far we've come. A decade ago, the idea of a fully reusable Super Heavy launch vehicle was considered science fiction. Now, it's poised to become a routine part of space infrastructure. Elon Musk's original vision, to make life multiplanetary, seemed absurd to many. And yet, here we are, watching the first commercial customers place their trust in that same dream. It's not a question of if anymore. It's a matter of when. The anticipation is electric. Around the world, engineers, students, space enthusiasts, and curious minds are tuning in. They're not just watching a rocket launch, they're witnessing a paradigm shift. This moment is the culmination of countless hours of work, tireless innovation, and unrelenting ambition. And it's also the spark that lights the next stage. Because if this mission succeeds, and even if it encounters setbacks, it will be remembered as the point where commercial spaceflight stepped into a new chapter. Imagine the ripple effects. Governments may rethink how they fund space programs. Corporations may launch new divisions focused on orbital platforms. Universities may invest more heavily in aerospace research. And a whole generation of young people may start dreaming not just of working at NASA, but of founding their own space startups. The psychological impact of success can be just as powerful as the technical achievement. Even the payload itself becomes symbolic. It's more than satellites and sensors. It's a declaration that the door to space is now open for business. The rocket boosters no longer belong only to states or militaries. They belong to entrepreneurs, scientists, and creators. And with each new payload, we write another chapter in the story of humanity's expansion into the final frontier. As the engines ignite and the tower shakes, one thing becomes clear: this is no longer a rehearsal. The age of commercial spaceflight has begun. And it began not with a whisper, but with a thunderclap that echoed across oceans and lit up the sky with fire and ambition. Starship is on its way, and it's carrying more than hardware. It's carrying hope. The flight of Starship marks a tectonic shift in our species' relationship with the cosmos. As the rocket surges skyward, shedding flame and fury beneath it, the collective gaze of humanity follows. Because what's on board this ship isn't just another satellite deployment, it's a signal that space is no longer out of reach. Starship's payload may include satellites and sensors, but what it truly carries is the future. Each module strapped inside is a promise, a potential, a first step in redefining where and how we live, communicate, research, and dream. Inside that vast pressurized cargo bay, the new generation of communication satellites is just the beginning. These advanced satellites, compact and sleek, are designed to form adaptive mesh networks. Unlike older models that required fixed positions and frequent recalibrations, these machines will communicate dynamically, bouncing data across space in fluid, intelligent patterns. They're designed to bring internet to places forgotten by fiber optics or cellular towers. From the jungles of the Congo to the deserts of Central Asia, small villages and remote outposts will soon have access to the sum total of human knowledge through a constellation of orbiting silicon. This innovation goes beyond simple connectivity. Education, telemedicine, financial services, and emergency communication. Every one of these sectors is about to be redefined for billions. The satellites can enable real-time monitoring of crops, oceans, and forest fires. They'll help aid agencies coordinate relief during natural disasters. And most of all, they will create a bridge between worlds, the physical world of Earth and the digital frontier above it. The payload's power isn't just technological, it's transformational. But nestled beside those satellites is something even more experimental, even more daring. In sealed compartments with extreme shielding and delicate instruments, Starship is also carrying early-stage experiments that hint at humanity's future among the stars. Miniature bioreactors, tasked with studying how DNA replicates in microgravity. Crystal growth modules, designed to form ultra-pure materials impossible to make on Earth. Even robotic arms, pre-programmed to perform surgical tasks on inert tissue in zero-G, collecting data that will inform future space hospitals. Each of these is more than just a science project. They are the seeds of industry, health, and life beyond Earth. As we test how biology responds to space, we're laying the foundation for Mars greenhouses. As we grow perfect crystals, we inch closer to breakthroughs in quantum computing. And as we explore remote surgery, we make it possible for colonists to survive without a nearby hospital. It's easy to miss these quieter components among the roaring engines and shimmering hull, but they may well become the most important part of the mission. And of course, SpaceX knows exactly what it's doing. This mission isn't just a test flight, it's a proof of concept. Every sensor on Starship is feeding back data on vibration, heat, radiation, and G-forces. Engineers and mission control are monitoring how the ship behaves at every phase: ascent, orbital insertion, and eventual return. And those learnings don't vanish into a black box. They become building blocks. Each bit of turbulence, each shift in pressure helps refine the next version. With Starship, evolution is not generational, it's iterative and fast. What flies today is better than yesterday. What flies tomorrow is smarter than both. For competitors and collaborators alike, this is a moment of reckoning. The old way of accessing space, slow, expensive, bureaucratic, is being dismantled in real time. Companies that once waited years for a slot on a government mission can now book a ride aboard Starship like you'd book a shipping container. Costs plummet, timelines shrink, possibilities expand. This rocket isn't just a vehicle, it's a catalyst. It is tearing down the gate that kept the stars behind closed doors. The ripple effect will spread rapidly. Satellite internet providers will scale up. Biomedical startups will propose orbital labs. Academic researchers will include microgravity conditions in their proposals. And somewhere, a high school student will see this launch and realize that space is not only for astronauts, it's for engineers, coders, designers, visionaries. The world's relationship to space is no longer passive. With Starship, it becomes participatory. SpaceX is also using this opportunity to test in-orbit maneuvering and deployment protocols that will become essential for future missions. As the payload doors open and cargo disperses into Earth orbit, it's not just about what's being delivered, but how it's being done. The choreography of deploying dozens of payloads with precision timing and safety checks is laying the groundwork for future missions to the Moon, Mars, and even deep space. Starship is practicing for the day when it's not just delivering satellites but modules, habitats, and maybe one day people. And speaking of people, Starship's interior isn't just designed for cargo. Tucked away in SpaceX's long-term roadmap are designs for crew configurations that can carry up to 100 people. These future missions will need to be pressurized, shielded, and equipped for weeks or months of interplanetary travel. What's happening now with this uncrewed commercial payload is rehearsal. Everything learned here, from fuel consumption to aerodynamic stress, is feeding into that bigger dream, to build a transport system for humanity itself. Elon Musk's vision of a multiplanetary civilization may still feel distant, but step by step, the mechanisms are falling into place. The Starlink satellites orbiting above us, the solar panels being manufactured, the robotic construction arms, all of it forms a web. A network of capability and presence that extends Earth's reach. This mission is one thread in that web. And together, those threads are forming something unthinkably vast. When Starship eventually lands, either back on Earth or someday on Mars, it will return not just with data but with the validation of a bold idea. That a private company can do what once took entire nations decades to accomplish. The idea that innovation can move at the speed of ambition. That we don't have to wait for the perfect plan to start building the future. The commercial payload on this flight may seem small compared to the grandeur of the vision behind it. But so did the first airplane, the first car, the first computer. Revolution often begins in silence. A few satellites, a few experiments, a massive rocket lifting off under the night sky. And then, possibility. With each launch, Starship makes the future a little more real. So as we watch that gleaming ship vanish into the blackness, leaving behind only thunder and vapor, we're not just observing a technical feat, we're witnessing a change in the human story. The moment when space began to open not for a few but for all. When innovation became the launch pad. And hope the payload.